don't even think grateful is enough of a word for how I'm feeling. Like almost speechless. Like it's changing everything for me. Everything. On the most fundamental level. And there's still more healing to do in the community and in the world. And, you know, it's forever. I know it'll be a forever thing. Once you've learned it, you can't unlearn it. Like, it feels like my brain is wired in a new way to see things. To see things. Yeah, just the way you are, Stephen. You're so generous in the space that I feel like each individual person was able to feel really vulnerable and seen. You gave people the space to like feel their things. And sometimes even nothing would happen, but you'd still leave the space for the nothing to happen. And I really enjoyed that generosity, I guess, with space, because we don't find it in life normally. So I really appreciate that. I think it helps people's process and it helps people feel like they're valuable enough to be given that space and that time. I want to thank you too, obviously. Like I said, grateful's not enough. Honestly, it's not enough. And I'm so happy to have met you and to be doing this work with you.
Very, very present. And that is for me the most important thing in connecting and feeling like I can be safe and open up and really like relax in myself in the connection with someone else, feeling really like seen and understood and not judged in any way, and just feeling very, very safe in connection. And then I think you have that creativity as well. You bring up all these metaphors that really help me to reframe some of my own understanding through the creativity. I don't know, you strike me as a very creative person. I think helps me understand myself much better.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I find Stephen a really calming presence. I think I find him really non-judgmental. He's very present for you when you're in a session, which I think is really important. He's able to hold space. Like he's a very calming presence. I also think there is something quite powerful in doing something like this with a group of people. Just seeing this other group of people who are trying to do the same thing, it kind of reminds you that you're not alone in this whole mad world. Also, I would say, as somebody who is just generally interested in how the mind works and how I work and how other people work, I found it really useful and enriching, I guess, like more frameworks with which to understand myself and to understand other people was really helpful.
It's clear that this is not like business for you. And I felt like it's very rare to see the intersection of like this new business that you have and like actual caring about people and like actual concern about healing. I felt like we were both on a journey with you being like a student and I was your student in some ways. And I feel like I still continue to feel like we are both on a journey and that connectedness is what I felt. Like trust the process. Yeah.
Stephen is not only is he friendly and compassionate and sensitive, but outside of the clinical relationship we have, which has been successful, he seems like someone I would want to have as a friend. He's nurturing, helpful, and clearly seems to care. And that relationship has made a big difference in my life. I feel like I'm just better equipped to handle circumstances. I better see how things work. The techniques are sticking. If it's neural pathways, I think some of them have have changed a little bit. You know, if you look at my brain before we started the work and now, I think there are some new pathways, and maybe some pathways from before may not be as entrenched or not as strong. I feel heard. You know, when you're talking to, especially people you might know really well, friends, family, you're talking to them and you can already see that they're tuning out, or they're formulating the next question. With you listening, I feel heard, and you repeat back to me what I've said, and you seem to understand what I'm imparting to you, what I'm telling you. And I think that environment has allowed me to feel better. You know, it's allowed me to feel some progress.
Your energy feels very clean. Like, I'm not noticing you regulating yourself in the background. It's a really good mirror for me. You have a calmness. You are, you know, your tone doesn't change in the sense that there's that same calmness regardless of what I say, and that amplifies that sense of safety. I just continue to be more and more present in my experience without the fear. I thought that was really powerful. It ended up becoming more of an experiential learning than just knowledge. I think what you're doing is a great service.
I think you're very curious and engaging, and I think you're trying to do something. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think it's good. I think it came out in the Healing Accelerator. There was something that came out of it that was unique. I think it was like the community aspect of it. I feel more open, like I feel more connected. It's like a heart opening, like I feel more like, yeah, more just in tune with not just people, like also like animals and trees and stuff.
I think you have like such an incredibly warm and gentle presence that is also like much more complex. I think grounded is like such a perfect one that comes to mind. I keep coming back to this word warm, that like just the warmth was like really felt in the group. It was a very like a warm, grounded environment. I think I was really fascinated by like the parts work mixed with the somatic work. I thought it was really cool to integrate for myself how these different parts of us show up in our body differently, but the osmosis of like certain people's experiencing and processing and just like authenticity of being in that space spoke to the group process of healing. Sometimes you aren't able to do whatever the thing is, but the energy transfer of when someone's being authentic in their own quest, like you can really feel that.
You held a very even space. The word I keep coming back to is gentle. I think you were actually a springboard for my and a lot of other people's awareness and mindfulness, sort of having your example of mindfulness and ease and slowness was a good place to reference when our nervous systems were perhaps less regulated. And it felt like the ultimate breakthrough to be able to push out that really belief in myself, which is something that was very much lacking at the beginning of the group, and take ownership of really a dream, give myself kind of permission to dream and have that dream be shared.
I've made actual progress rather than just just being stuck. I think you're extremely accepting, I guess. Yeah, extremely accepting. Very relaxed, which is nice. Intelligent, I think the only therapist I've had who's been able to like talk about literature and art and all of the beautiful things that make up this world in a way that feels genuine. And it feels very much like you when we've had the sessions, like I'm working with someone who's deeply engaged with healing people rather than just performing the role of a therapist, if that makes sense. I think you also challenge me, at least. You definitely challenged me in improving, I suppose, rather than being too permissible. I think I could just like take up every single session with just like let me complain about my life. So it's also appreciated to have some pushback on those patterns. Also, I really like that the approach you have is very kind of eclectic. I suppose you do have a focus on like somatic work. So there is some sort of like grounding idea, but then I felt like we could kind of like go all over the place in terms of other kind of like ways of exploring and healing. I'm speaking from like my experience of other therapists. It's like they have one metaphor for explaining a concept, and that's the one they've used. So eclectic, knowledgeable, relaxed. I think the positive thing about the work that we've done is that it hasn't required a kind of singular or peak moment to affect real change. It's been very iterative and incremental, I would say. In some sense, maybe that means that I was getting it in every session.
Thank you. Because I think it has been really inspiring to be part of this healing accelerator and everything. I mean, it's very easy to just go to a lot of therapists and talk a lot, talk. Well, nothing happens. So I think this way of working is really intelligent, actually. The way I have felt about you is that you are like very sensitive, that you see things in other people, and that you are like sincere, and that you're really interested in the work you do, that you really want to do a really good job because you're like passionate about it. Yeah. The first time we met, that I felt that you were very, I don't know what the word would be, like non-judgmental, perhaps, like not judging. I felt like, well, it's okay. He's just interested in, to work with me around this issue. And that felt really good. Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
I can
Yeah.
definitely recommend them to work with you, because I think it's been really, really good for me. Yeah. And I sometimes, if I have something like a symptom or like a bad day or something, I can think, what would Stephen say? Like.
I mean, I think you're overall great. Like, you have such like a sense of holding space for support and to feel like comfortable and seen, as well as like understanding through the connection that you give to everybody and one-on-one. Like, you can do a group and you can also do one-on-one at the same time, and I thought that was really cool. You're safe, you're connecting, you're caring, you're understanding. Like, I almost feel like held through this space.
I think someone that's really friendly and creates a really open environment that's really easy to talk in. I really felt like the connected healing field, and I really resonated with a lot of people with what they were saying.
I'm super grateful for like all of the work that we've done together. I definitely could not be like anywhere near where I am without you. So thank you.